started yet?
Yes.
Hmm.
Uh, we need to adjust the camera so we can see you. The camera's up there.
I don't know. Does it
You're
need to
gonna
be?
have to turn it. Good job. See here. Now, need to do one other thing. Recorder.
Hmm.
What? Oh.
Mine doesn't say that.
What?
It doesn't have the option to join. Wait, there it goes.
So,
Mm,
I
I don't know.
don't know what you're doing either. So I need this unplugged. Will you hand me that mic over there? Alright.
Maybe I just turn that off. That way I'm showed up. But
There's something in there.
okay.
We need the lights turned on. Oh, we need this one. Right here. And plug the, don't need that. Plug in this. I got too much crap.
No kidding.
Stop. We don't need attitude right now. We need just a second. We're getting there. We need where's that recorder at? There it is. We need that recorder. What? Okay, there we go. Now that's recording. Are you ready?
Yep.
Coming to you from the middle of nowhere in the big blue house. I messed that completely up. Coming to you from the inner sanctum of the big blue house in the middle of nowhere. This is Paranormal Adventures with your host, Sean.
And Krystal.
You're gonna have to speak up.
You are shorter than me in this chair. I'm taller than you
Yeah.
because my chair's taller than you.
We can adjust that camera where it's pointed up a little bit. For those of you wanting to watch us on
Was that good?
YouTube, yeah.
Okay.
You are a little out of focus there, girlie. There we go.
That's why I leave the technical stuff to you.
As you should. Okay. Well, I had my phone, but I don't know what I did with it. I lost it.
So tonight we're going to bring you guys some Native American legend and folklore that started in Canada and made its way to the North States, U.S. But we're going to be talking about the wendigo tonight.
The wendigo.
So, did you want me to go ahead and start reading or what?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
So it says the wendigo is a malevolent supernatural creature from Algonquian folklore. It's hard for me to pronounce, but that is the Native American tribe that was around that area of Canada. They were often described as a monstrous, cannibalistic being with ties to starvation, greed, and the harsh realities of winter in northern regions. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of selfishness and the importance of community, particularly in times of scarcity. So, and there were some things we were going to talk about tonight. We watched a documentary kind of about how the legends of the Wendigo got started, and a couple of different ones that I liked was the legend of Swift Runner, who was a Native American man, and he was one of the first ones to be arrested and hung for his crimes by the Royal Mounted Police. This was, I believe it was in 1878, but I'm going to have him look it up. Swift Runner. And he was accused, and he was found guilty of it, of basically killing and eating his wife and his children. So, and then some other nearby people as well. So, well, we're going to pull that up and read a little bit more of that here in a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead with some of the Wendigo description and legends. It says, Wendigo description, legend, creature, until dawn, and facts. So I'm just going to try to pull that up. Use his laptop here. So, bear with me, guys. I'm not used to using this. Okay. So, the Wendigo is sometimes described as a spirit rather than a physical presence. In Cree, that was also another Native American tribe that was mentioned that they had a similar legend for the Wendigo, was the Cree.
Swift Runner was 1879.
1879. So I was off by what, a year? So, in Cree mythology, for example, the Wendigo is believed to be an evil spirit that possesses humans. The spirit enters a person by biting him or her through a dream. The possessed person becomes cannibalistic or otherwise deranged or violent. Some people are believed to be more susceptible to becoming possessed by a Wendigo, including those who are greedy or gluttonous, as well as those who are suffering from hunger or starvation. A colloquial phrase for this experience is going Wendigo. And when I mentioned Swift Runner, when he was taken into custody for everything that had happened with his family and him basically cannibalizing his family, he was claiming to be possessed by Wendigo. So that was one of the ones that was recorded in history for that.
With it being part...
How do I do this, babe? Pull it down.
You take your two fingers?
Yeah.
What? So you take 2 fingers and you go like that.
Okay.
Anyway.
We got it.
with it being coincided with starvation and stuff, some people think it's just kind of like a mental illness.
Yeah, there's some psychiatrists that are attributing those claims as being mental illness. But then there's the other groups that are saying, well, no, because cannibalism and this kind of stuff doesn't exactly fit the bill. But so they were kind of going back and forth on that documentary between psychiatrists and people that were saying no, it could be the Wendigo legend. So it was really interesting. Really interesting. So the Wendigo legend exists in the oral history of North American tribes, predating Europeans' arrival in North America. Some anthropologists believe the legend developed as a cautionary tale about the importance of community to guard against individual greed, selfishness, and isolation. The Wendigo was a personification of cold and hunger in a time when human survival relied on banding together and sharing resources, particularly during the long, harsh winters of the northern wilderness. The legend may also have served as a warning to children not to wander into the woods. That makes sense.
Stay out of the woods.
I was going to see if it said anything about him yet, but this is back in 1600s. And this says the first known written mention of the Wendigo appears in a 1636 report by Paul Le Jeune, a French Jesuit missionary living among the Algonquin people in what is now Quebec, which they speak a lot of French there. Le Jeune described a woman who warns of an Atchen is Atchen.
What do you say that?
Right there. That had eaten some tribal members nearby and that would eat a great many more of them if he were not called elsewhere. A few instances of murder and cannibalism in North America were blamed on the Wendigo. Those included a case in Alberta, Canada, 1879. Oh, this is it. Where a Cree hunter and trapper named Swift Runner claimed a Wendigo spirit had entered his dreams and told him to eat his family. He was tried for murder, found guilty, and hanged for his crimes. Later that year, another case occurred in 1907 among the Sandy Lake First Nation community in northern Ontario. The tribal shaman Jack Fiddler and his brother Joseph Fiddler were charged with the murder of Joseph's daughter-in-law, whom they had strangled to prevent her from becoming possessed by a Wendigo. After the brothers' arrest, Jack Fiddler escaped the police and strangled himself, and Joseph Fiddler died from tuberculosis in prison in 1909. That's kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah, it is.
So, did you have some stuff pulled up
Oh,
about this?
I was just thinking about it a little bit. And, you know, in Canada, there's a lot of French influence in Canada. But it also got me to thinking about Louisiana.
Yeah, the Rougarou.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the Rougarou.
Yeah, and it's a little similar, but it's more of like a werewolf, dog-like creature. But it's the same kind of principles in a way, because it talks about how a Rougarou can also possess a person.
Yeah.
So that kind of would go hand in hand with the Wendigo.
The Wendigo was kind of making me think of the Rougarou.
And did you have something pulled up too, Pat?
I was looking at Rougarou stuff.
Oh, okay. So I'll just keep on with this then, but I don't know if we can actually maybe pull some more up on Swift Runner. It's actually really interesting, but that was the gist of that. Let me just scroll down. Okay. Alright, I think we're in business. So, by the early 20th century, the term Wendigo psychosis was being used by psychologists and missionaries to describe a culture-bound syndrome among Native and First Nations people whose symptoms included delusions of becoming possessed by an evil spirit, depression, violence, a compulsion for human flesh, and it says in some cases cannibalism. The syndrome also, was also diagnosed retroactively in historical cases of cannibalism in North America. However, the existence of the syndrome is disputed by some scientists. So that's what you were saying too about the psychiatrists were saying that it was like a Native American psychosis.
Yeah.
But I don't tend to believe that. I mean, for two different tribes to have a similar legend, that's not really a coincidence.
I just went blank. Sorry. I was going to say something about something, and I don't remember what I was going to say something about.
Oh. Well. Let's see. Well, I'll just go on and read some more of this. If you want to look up some stuff and...
I'm working on it.
For centuries, indigenous artists and activists have drawn on the Wendigo legend both literally and metaphorically to address such issues as colonialism, violence, and environmental destruction. American writer Louise Erdrich's poem Wendigo, 1984, tells of a man trapped inside a Wendigo who abducts a young girl, who in turn releases his spirit. Her novel, The Roundhouse, 2012, which centers on that's a tribal word. How would you say that? Ojibwe boy in North Dakota seeking justice after his mother is raped, uses the Wendigo legend to explore views of retribution and justice among the boy's tribe versus those of the U.S. government. In the 21st century, activist Winona LaDuke coined the term Wendigo economics to criticize corporations' cannibalistic effect on Earth.
Wendigo economics, is that like the
I have no idea.
you barter with Wendigos? Here, I would like that person for a dozen Wendigos.
Yeah, I don't know about what
or that they use Wendigo hair as currency.
Well, I can just keep on with some of this. It's really interesting. There's a lot about it. That's why we want to do a deep dive for you guys on the Wendigo, because there is actually a lot of cases and a lot of information on the Wendigos.
I was looking at some stuff there.
Let him read that and then I'll get you guys some more information.
The Wendigo is not just a monster. It's often depicted as a powerful spirit or entity that can possess humans.
Daily.
Some legends say the Wendigo has a heart of ice, symbolizing its cold, cruel nature. Shape-shifting. Some stories suggest that the Wendigo can shape-shift, taking on different forms to stalk or lure its prey.
Huh. I always heard they were crazy looking, but then like that documentary said that it was more like people being possessed by the spirit of one.
See, I keep getting the Wendigo and the Skinwalker mixed up. The Skinwalker is kind of
it's also a Native American
legend.
Is,
but it looks more like a humanoid deer. In a way, it's got like the deer antlers.
Huh.
So it's kind of.
I guess I never knew what a skinwalker really looked like too much
But
either.
It's supposed to be a shapeshifter as well.
So they're both, I guess, kind of like that, or I know it's been compared like there's been some comparisons made against the Wendigo and the Skinwalkers and some of the similarities, but
Yeah. In some cases, individuals may experience wendigo psychosis, a cultural bound syndrome where they believe they are possessed by the wendigo.
yeah, that's what they were talking about, some of that.
Um, Despite its origins in specific indigenous cultures, the wendigo has become a popular figure in popular culture, appearing in literature, movies, and games.
There's been a lot of, I've seen scary movies done about the Wendigo.
So,
Like, I was trying to look up some documentaries and
you
it
need
pulled
to
up
speak this way.
I'm trying to keep Dealey out. Our dog is trying to become part of the show tonight, so she keeps trying to squeeze her way underneath here. Anyway, now what was okay? So I was trying to pull up some documentaries on the Wendigo, and so it kept pulling up different like scary movies that was made. So there's been a lot of people that have kind of made movies off of it too. So.
You got stuff.
Okay. It says since the 19th century, the Wendigo legend has also captured the imaginations of non-indigenous authors. The Wilderness Hunter in 1893. The future U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt includes a goblin story about a bear-like beast that stalks the camp of two hunters, leaving only one to survive and tell the tale. Readers have interpreted Roosevelt's beast as being either the legendary Bigfoot or a Wendigo. British writer Algernon Blackwood's novel The Wendigo in 1910 tells a similar story of a mysterious monster hunting a campsite in Canadian wilderness. And American novelist Stephen King, awesome, I love Stephen King, he's great. He features a Wendigo in the horror story Pet Sematary. Okay, so that's where some of that came from Pet Sematary. That's interesting. That was the original Pet Sematary. It was in 1983. Canadian writer Margaret Atwood examines the Wendigo legend in Strange Things, The Malevolent North in Canadian Literature, 1995, and a book of lectures on the imaginative landscape of Canadian literature. So there's like a lot about it, a lot of writings and stuff. It's really interesting.
I like the Wendigo pretty well.
I do too. I've always been kind of fascinated by it. And the first time I ever saw anything about the Wendigo was back when you and I were watching about the brothers that had the gifts and they were like hunting all the demons and stuff they could see. Remember? Oh, good grief. And I can't remember the name of it, but people are going to know what I'm talking about. They could see things that others could not see, and they drove around in the black sports car, and they had all the stuff in the back trunk.
Are you talking about Supernatural?
Supernatural!
Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, Supernatural was the two brothers that went around and they like got rid of the bad guys. They could like see things that nobody else could see. So they could see Wendigos, and they could see like Krampus was an episode one time. They could see things that others can't see, and they would get rid of the demons and bad people. But the Wendigo was an episode. I don't know if you remember that one. But that was the first time I ever saw anything about a Wendigo, and from then on I was kind of fascinated by it. So we ought to start watching that again, because you don't remember much about it, and I remember more than you do. But anyway. let's keep going.
I'm waiting on you. What was the other?
What are you talking about?
There was another story you wanted to talk about dealing with the Wendigo.
Oh yeah, it was on that. It was something incident, and I don't remember. It's probably not gonna say it on here. It was in the documentary, but it was basically. I wish I could remember so we could look it
was
up.
something like.
Well, it was basically this guy wanders into a Native American campground and they know he's possessed. He's saying he's possessed by a wendigo. I don't know. They ended up tying the guy up, but I wish we could just pull it up and read about it because it would be a little bit better. But I didn't write it down. It was something like incident. Are you looking that up?
I'm trying to.
He's trying to look it up, so I'm going to look at some of this stuff. I'm going to apologize to you guys because we really weren't as prepared this week as we should have been. We've had a lot of things going on with summer and everything. But my partner here is going to have to help me start researching too. Let's see. That might have been all of that. I think that was pretty much it on what I had on that. I can see what else I can find. Oops.
Was it Jack Fiddler? Jack Fiddler.
What are you talking about?
About that incident you were talking about.
I don't believe so. I mean, you can look it up. I think I'd already went over that because it was the Algonquin speaking tribes.
So,
I want to put that on our Facebook page. There's a picture, some Native American drawings, some of their interpretations of the Wendigo. So I'm looking at something that's pretty neat right now. So I'm going to try to put that on our Facebook page for you guys later. And that is Paranormal Adventures with Sean and Krystal on Facebook. So I'll try to get some of that on there. It was really associated a lot with winter. Like a lot of stuff that I've pulled up about that, it seems like that was like a big winter like legend for them, and it had to do with it just being cold. There was famines, hunger, and a lot of that came about.
okay, Jack Fiddler. This is coming from Wikipedia. Like his father before him, Jack Fiddler became a famous shaman for his alleged ability to conjure animals and protect his people from spells. Most importantly, to the people of the region, he could allegedly successfully defeat the Wendigo, a cannibalistic spirit that would possess people during all too frequent bouts of famine and disease. In his life, Jack Fiddler claimed to have defeated 14 wendigos.
Wow.
Apparently, some were sent against his people by enemy shamans, and others were members of his own band who were taken with an insatiable, incurable desire to eat human flesh. In the latter case, Fiddler was usually asked by family members to kill a very sick loved one before they turned wendigo. In some cases, the wendigo him or herself was asked to be euthanized according to the necessary rites. Fiddler's own brother, Pete Flett, was killed after turning wendigo when the food ran out on a trading expedition.
Oh, wow.
HBC traders, Cree, and missionaries were well aware of the Wendigo legend, though they often explained it was mental illness, superstition, regard mental illness or superstition. Regardless, several incidents of people turning wendigo and eating human flesh are documented in the records of the company. Jack Fiddler's reputation also grew among these groups, and his uh, and he was approached multiple times by Cree ministers at Island Lake and asked to bring Christianity to his people. Though he respectfully heard their request, Fiddler did not convert. By the beginning of the 20th century, the Sucker people were among the only indigenous people in North America living in a traditional manner with almost no government imposition on legal and religious matters.
So, they were Wendigo hunters.
He was apparently, but you know, we were talking about it possibly being mental illness or something like that. What they were saying was the Wendigo.
Sorry.
The Wendigo was a real. They were turning into Wendigos in times of famine or disease, and you know when you're really hungry, I can vouch for this one. When you're really
My
hungry,
goodness.
you're gonna do things you normally wouldn't do, or if you're really sick, you're gonna have
Yeah, that's true too.
like delusions and stuff. So you know it could be
Yeah,
some sort of
it
mental
could be,
illness.
but I mean, to me, I think there's still something to it because all those two different Native American tribes, they have the legends of the Wendigo. Well, if you go down to West America, you know, you've got like New Mexico, Arizona, all those desert places, Skinwalker Ranch. You had Native Americans that had all these legends about skinwalkers too.
Yeah.
And while they are different, there are some similarities.
Uh, you know, it's just I don't know. It's one of them things that I'm not gonna say that I believe in the Wendigo or I don't believe because there's
You
kind of
haven't seen one.
there's kind of a fine line between being some sort of it's in their head or
Yeah.
it's something that's actually some sort of demonic force.
Yeah.
So
Oh, and I remember the two brothers' names. I've been sitting there trying to think of that. So going back to the TV show Supernatural, they were Dean and Sam.
I didn't know you were trying to remember their names.
I was trying to remember their names too because I thought, well, if I say their
And
names,
guess
people
what?
probably remember.
Their last name's a gun. It's called a Winchester.
Winchester, yep. Dean and Sam Winchester, the Supernatural brothers. Yeah, we need to start watching that one again. Pull it up and watch it again. Go back to the beginning. But anyway, yeah. I think it's really interesting. I think it's neat how it came about, and there's definitely been some crazy cases like the case of Swift Runner and the way that he thought he was possessed by a wendigo and then killed and ate his. I mean, you've got to be in some kind of mental state or possessed, one of the two, to kill your wife and your children and eat them. I mean, that to me just blows my mind.
And you know, look at the wagon train that got stuck in the mountains.
Oh, the Donner Party.
Yeah, the Donner
'cause
Party.
They kind of went crazy.
Look at what they did. They were stuck and they ended up eating each other.
Yeah,
Well,
it was a crazy situation
well,
for sure.
when somebody died, they would eat that person.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
that was a very sad situation that happened with it. Yeah, you guys ought to look that up if you're not familiar with it, but it was the Donner Party.
But we might do a deep dive on the Donner Party because that's pretty.
Yeah, it was interesting. There's a lot to talk about because we could talk about their journey and what went wrong, how they
Their
got to where they
shortcut.
got. Yeah, their shortcut that wasn't really a shortcut. So,
So, yeah.
but yeah, I just think it's interesting, and just for some comparison, since you know a little bit more about those than I do, if you want to let our audience know a little bit about skinwalkers and a little bit of the legend on that, and they can kind of see some of the similarities and the comparison.
I thought we'd do like the next episode over skinwalkers, but
I just thought you kind of do a little bit of a comparison. It's not like a deep dive or anything, just so we can kind of see similarities and the differences between the two. But I will also find some artwork and pictures for you guys and put them on our page.
skinwalkers are malevolent, shape-shifting beings in Navajo folklore
So it's Navajo tribe.
believed to be witches who can transform into animals. They are often associated with harmful magic and are considered dangerous figures in Navajo culture. It is taboo to speak of them, especially to outsiders, due to fear of attracting their attention or IRE. Well, crap, we're screwed.
Why?
Because we're talking about the skinwalker and we're not supposed to talk about it.
It's interesting that, but that even sounds a little bit more like a witch or something. And then if you go down far into Mexico, I'll teach you a Spanish word. You want to know what the Spanish word for witch is?
No.
Bruja. Bruja.
Okay.
So, but anyway, it sounds kind of like it was saying like kind of a witchy type being that's just malevolent, bad. So.
Skinwalkers are known for their ability to transform into various animals, often using animal skins or pelts for transformation. They are depicted as witches who misuse supernatural powers for malicious purposes, unlike traditional Navajo healers.
Huh. So they're like the opposite. They're like an evil version. Kinda. Sorta.
Taboo subject. Speaking about skinwalkers, especially to those outside the Navajo community, it is discouraged to believe that it could draw their attention on potentially unleash their harmful magic. You're making me talk about skinwalkers, and it's gonna hurt us.
Well, at least we don't live near like Arizona and New Mexico, so maybe we're safe. We're in Arkansas.
Uh, Possible origins. Some accounts suggest the skinwalkers may be individuals who have learned healing powers but turned evil, potentially requiring the killing of a family member as part of the transformation process.
That's crazy.
You have to kill your family member. So if I want to turn into a skinwalker, I have to kill you.
Oh, good grief.
Anyway, yeah, that's skinwalker.
Yeah, so it sounds like it is a lot different than from Wendigo, pretty much. I thought there might have been some similarities,
Closer fitting like.
yeah, a little bit closer similarities, but it sounds like from that it's not as close of a link.
They're both Native American
Yeah,
legends.
yeah.
I try and get a picture pulled up, but it's not working.
I am going to put some pictures on our page too, so.
Anyway, anything else you want to talk about on it?
How long have we gone? Pretty good length for everybody.
42 minutes there.
Okay.
42 minutes there. And I don't know about over there because I can't see over there.
Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed. There's a lot of great information on Wendigos. Also Skinwalkers that you can look up. TV show on that one, the Skinwalker Ranch, and then you can put
Skinwalker Ranch isn't about skinwalkers. It's about that ranch.
Oh, anyway, there's a lot of good information on Wendigos.
Stop.
Oh, speaking of Wendigos, Dealey wanted to say hello, so she's our German chocolate lab, or we like to say she's got a little German shepherd in her. But so, what are y'all gonna do one this week coming up?
Yeah, Wednesday of next week.
Okay. What are y'all gonna be talking about?
Serial killer in Arkansas.
Oh, that'll be really interesting.
But anyway.
And I hope you guys have a really wonderful night and a happy 4th of July weekend. Stay safe and have fun.
Be careful. Don't blow yourself up.
Remember our freedoms while we have them. So, happy 4th.